We're going to break down how you can use AI to completely transform your study habits. And I'm not just talking about asking it simple questions. We're talking about unlocking its real power. So let's just jump right in. Does this sound familiar? You feel like you're just drowning in information. You sit down, all motivated to study, and then you open the book and boom, brain freeze. You spend hours researching, and somehow you end up even more confused than when you started, right? Well, guess what? The days of endless cramming, rewatching lectures on 2 times speed, and trying to memorize an entire syllabus the night before an exam, those days are over. We're moving from that old, frankly super inefficient way of studying to a new, AI-powered approach that's all about clarity, efficiency, and actually understanding the material. So here's our game plan. We'll start with what I call the foundation problem in studying. Then we'll walk through 3 key phases to solve it: research, writing, and presentation. And to wrap it all up, we'll cover 5 pro tips to help you become a true AI master.
Okay, let's kick things off with phase 1, research and clarity. The whole point here is building a rock-solid foundation. I mean, think about it. If you don't even know where to start or which topics are actually important, you're building on sand. And that's what leads straight to confusion and that dreaded feeling of information overload.
And this is a trap so many of us fall into, right? Instead of having a clear map, you end up lost in this endless ocean of Google results and YouTube rabbit holes. That's exactly why getting that strong, clear foundation is so critical before you even crack open a book. So how do you build that foundation? Well, a great tool for this is something like Gemini, specifically because of its deep research capabilities. You've got to think of it like your own personal research assistant. It's not just using old data. It's accessing the live web, scanning everything from academic papers to videos, and then it hands you a structured, logical plan. And the best part? It even cites its sources so you can check its work. And check this out. This is a perfect example of its power. You can give it a really detailed, strategic prompt, like this one, asking it to analyze 10 years of exam papers. And what do you get back? In just a few minutes, you have a complete, prioritized study plan based on what's most likely to get you points. I mean, that's work that would have taken days before, and now it's done in minutes. That's a game changer. Okay, let's move on to phase 2. Your research is solid, you've got a great foundation. But now comes the next big hurdle: actually getting all those thoughts out of your head and onto the page in a way that makes sense. You know, a lot of students run into something psychologists call the expression problem. It's that super frustrating feeling. You're in an exam, you know you studied this, you can picture the page in your notebook, but when you try to write it down, nothing. Your mind just goes completely blank. And if this has happened to you, you are not alone. It's incredibly common. Get this. Research suggests that for something like 70% of students, the issue isn't a bad memory at all. It's an expression problem. The info is in your brain, but the path to get it out is just blocked. So how do you unblock it? The key is getting really good at writing prompts. If you give AI a lazy prompt, like "tell me about photosynthesis," you're going to get a lazy, boring textbook answer. But if you give the AI a role, some context, and a clear goal, like "teach me photosynthesis like I'm a 15-year-old," the response you get back is worlds apart. It's so much better, so much more memorable. It's literally night and day. And there's actually a really cool reason why this works so well. Our brains are just wired for stories. It's how we've learned for thousands of years. So when you ask an AI to explain something complicated through a story, it just clicks. It lights up more pathways in your brain, which means you'll remember it better and understand it on a much deeper level. Okay, so this is probably the most important point. You have to treat AI like a sparring partner, not a vending machine. Don't just put in a prompt and copy-paste the answer. You need to engage with it, argue with it, ask it follow-up questions, use its output as a starting point to build and sharpen your own understanding. All right, on to phase 3. This is the secret sauce. This is what takes all that great research and writing you've done and makes it truly shine. We're talking about presentation and how to make your work impossible to ignore. Here's a wild fact for you. Your brain thinks in pictures. It can process visual information 60,000 times faster than plain text. 60,000! So making your work look good isn't just about being neat, it's a straight-up biological hack to make your ideas stick. And this is where things get really fun. You can use AI to become what's known as a T-shaped student. That means you have deep knowledge in your main subject,
That's the vertical part of the T, but you also have broad skills in other areas, like design or communication. Imagine turning your notes into a podcast with an AI voice, or explaining a tough concept with a short AI-generated video. You're not just submitting a paper anymore, you're creating an experience. Okay, so we've got the 3 phases down. But how do you go from just using AI to truly mastering it? Let's dive into 5 pro tips that are going to elevate your game. All right, here they are. First, building your own AI toolkit. Second, really understanding the different models. Third, treating AI like a real study partner. Fourth, creating a question bank. And fifth, knowing how to find the perfect AI for any task. Get these down and you'll go from just playing around with AI to using it like a pro. Tip number 1, build your AI toolkit. Think of it like a toolbox. You wouldn't use a hammer to saw a piece of wood, right? Same idea here. Don't just randomly Google for tools every time. Have your go-to system. Maybe it's Gemini for research, ChatGPT for writing, and Canvas AI for visuals. Having a fixed system saves so much time and keeps you focused.
Pro tip number 2, know your models. This is super important. You need to know if you're asking the AI to think or to fetch. A reasoning model is great for brainstorming, analyzing, and explaining complex ideas. But a retrieval-based model is what you want when you need the absolute latest facts from the internet. Knowing the difference is key to getting the right answer. Number 3, and yeah, we've hit on this before, but it's so important I'm saying it again. Treat AI like a study partner. Seriously, argue with it. Ask it weird, creative questions. I love this example. Why didn't Newton just eat the apple? Questions like that force you to think differently, and honestly, they just make learning way more fun.
Okay, tip number 4, create a question bank. After you finish studying a chapter, immediately ask the AI to make a quiz for you. Multiple choice, short answer, whatever. This forces your brain to do something called active recall, which is basically pulling information out of your memory instead of just passively reading it. It is one of the single most powerful ways to make information stick. And last but not least, pro tip number 5. Let's say you need a super specific tool, maybe something that summarizes PDFs or makes digital flashcards. There's an amazing website you need to know about called There's an AI for That. It's pretty much what it sounds like, a giant directory of AI tools for just about any task you can possibly imagine.
So, all of this brings us to one final big question. These tools are getting smarter at an incredible speed. The real question isn't just about how you're going to study for your next exam. It's about how AI is going to completely change what education even is in the next 5 years. Will we even need schools and colleges as we know them? It's something to